Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas. Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda. Back for another episode. Back again. Ton of action last Saturday. Chris, we have a lot to unpack here. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, no, guys, welcome back again. Like you said, Gio, a lot of action inside the ring, outside the ring. Some great knockouts, some great action. Ali fight of the year. You guys let us know if that's how you feel. But yeah, man, let's get started, Gio.
Yeah, man, let's get started with this ongoing beef between the face of boxing, Turki Alalshikh. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if you saw that picture. Turki posted some poster that someone created, calling him the face of boxing. But no, he's been continued to make some comments about Canelo. We briefly discussed it last podcast, and then he tweeted something, I think the day right after, about Canelo. I can go ahead and pop it up on your screens. Let me see. Let me find it here. Turki Alalshikh, Chris, and then we'll get your thoughts on this and also the people in the live chat. So, Turki, what was this? August 7th. I think this was, the day after we recorded, or we had that live stream. Turki says, I heard that Canelo says that he respects me, but doesn't like the way I do business. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. Ooh, some sass there by Turk. As for the way I do business, I know why he doesn't like it, because I only target big fights at fair prices. So, of course, anyone who likes easy fights won't like that. And I know how he feels after losing to Bivol, so he's been looking for easier fights ever since. Also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford. Oh, interesting. Therefore, I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses with big amounts of money that can't be paid. So I'm continuing my way to make big fights that serve the boxing world, and he's on his way to making easy, show-only fights. What are your thoughts on this, Turk? You know, he was a bit passive-aggressive in the previous tweet when he talked about Canelo not meeting with them. And this tweet here, he went all in, disrespecting the face of boxing, Chris.
Yeah, no, let me first say, Gio, I want to hear your thoughts on this, but you got to admit he makes some valid points, Gio, and if And if people blindly side with Canelo, man, then you have to call yourself a Canelo fanboy. But he brings up some good points, Gio. He's ever since he's come to the sport, Turkey has come on. We've given him his flowers. He's put on some pretty good fights. He's put on fights that most people wouldn't have thought could be made. He's made all these promoters work together. As we remember, when he was gonna have this fight or this card in LA, even guys like Oscar de la Hoya were like, "Yeah, I'm not working with that guy, trying to take over my territory." Like, and now he's got guys like Oscar working side by side with him because money talks. So, I think he brought up some valid points. We do know that Canelo, is the face of boxing. He's a cash cow. He does command the biggest purses in the game. We just talked about it on the last podcast. Canelo, is a businessman. He does collect 80% of everything that he's involved with. And again, he's gonna want to get a bigger slice of the pie. And I think he's earned it. But at the same time, we're the fight fans that pay for these fights. So we're gonna want to see the very best fights. And sometimes those fights are risky. So I think Turkey's got a point, Gio. And you can rebut it if you like, but I think he makes some fair points.
All right, Chris. Well, let's go to the chat here because they're going in early. They're starting off swinging in the first round. This reminds me of Ortiz versus Bohachuk, man. Derek says Turkey 3 thumbs down. Big Bro says Turkey acting like the disgruntled little girl that didn't get what she wanted for the first time in her life. Derek says facts. I'm over him. Can't wait for him to be gone. Big Bro also says the gall of this guy to call an elite pound for pound boxer afraid. SMH. I'm sure this guy's never been punched in the face. He should for once in his life. Boxing Kangaroo checking in. He says, salute, fellas. Salute, man. Salute to all the Aussies checking in, man. Or if you're watching the replay, shout out to you too. But my thoughts on this, Chris, let me go ahead and read the parts I don't agree with here. So, first of all, the sass. As for him respecting me, it doesn't matter to me if he does or not. Chris, I'm sure he would like Canelo to respect him. I don't know what you think, but I don't believe that statement right there. All right. Continuing. He says anyone who likes easy fights won't like that. Hey, come on, Chris. We're talking about one of the fighters with the best resumes in the history of the sport. So the disrespect. Don't forget about the history, Chris. Don't forget about the past fights. Just because he's fighting guys like Berlanga and Munguia nowadays doesn't erase the fact that he fought guys like Mayweather, Cotto, Triple G, Lara, Trout. Must I continue? All right, I'll stop there. But that doesn't negate the fact that Canelo was taking tough fights at 20, 21, 22, and throughout his career. So that statement I don't agree with. After losing to Bivol, he's been looking for easier fights ever since. And he adds, also, I'm not the one who's afraid of fighting Benavidez or Crawford. Chris, the guy doesn't fight. What do you mean? How is he going to be afraid of anyone if he doesn't fight? I think some of those comments a bit childish. He also says, I knew he was wasting our time and making excuses. I think overall, what I don't agree with is the fact that, Canelo has a fight coming up in September 14th to be specific. I don't know about you, Chris, but I wouldn't have taken a meeting with this guy to already be negotiating my next fight. If I got a fight coming up, I mean, would you take it? Would you say, all right, Turkey, let's go ahead and start talking or negotiating about my next fight when you haven't even finished this fight yet? You're still in the middle of training camp.
I'm not gonna say I wouldn't take a meeting. I would try to focus and pay respects to the fight in front of me, Gio, but it's a lot of money. You can be respectful and be like, let's table this for a later date. I'm trying to focus on my opponent. I'm not trying to disrespect you or my opponent, so let's table this for a later date. I think it's like a honus in Canelo. It's the pride. I like the comment that Big Bro said. When you have loads and loads of money, Joe, like Turkey does, normally 99.99% of the time you get what you want. Let's keep it real. So we talked about this on the previous podcast. Canelo's one of those guys that like, hey, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the king of England. I don't care if you're whoever you are. Like, I'm not gonna move unless I'm ready to move. So again, that's pretty admirable of Canelo. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Turkey does bring up some points. We've heard about the numbers that Canelo has asked to fight the Benavides and the Crawford, and it's no pennies, man. It's big amounts of money. So if anybody can pay him, it's Turkey. So again, respect to Canelo, but there's more points I feel like I favor in Turkey in this round.
All right, let's go to some comments here by the chat. Big Bro says, Craig glazing turkey. SMH. Get the check first and then I'll understand. But you're D writing. He says, King of England. Derek brought up a good point. He says, I think he even threw jabs at Tim Tszyu. Yes. Tim Tszyu was another guy who wasn't willing to negotiate, it seems like, with Turkey at the moment. And Turkey took offense to it and says, I'm done with Tim Tszyu, basically, for lack of a better term, or I don't know if I'm misquoting him, but he says he's not working with Tim anymore. I don't know the exact words or the exact tweet. I'll look for it, but yeah, he's not the only one, Chris. I think Gervonta has said some things about Turkey too. Canelo and now Tim Tszyu. So I don't know. I just don't like that. It kind of seems like, oh man, look, I'm the rich guy. I'm gonna throw you this bag, and if you say no, I'm gonna go ahead and disrespect you. You know, it doesn't work like that, man. You can't always get what you want, especially as a new guy in boxing, Chris. You know, I understand that he made a splash right away. He brought us great shows. He got people paid, Turkey. However, these guys have been in the game for years and years and years, so you can't just come in and throw bags at people, and when they say no, you know, you get upset. But
yeah,
we'll see where this goes. I know Canelo has responded. He's already said, hey, I don't need anybody. You know, he doesn't need Turkey. Canelo's Canelo. Canelo is Canelo before Turkey. He'll continue to be Canelo after Turkey. You know, the guys who need Turkey, go ahead, man. Take the bag, bow down, hold his hand, whatever he asks you to do. But yeah, I don't think a guy like Canelo needs that. I think Tim Tszyu is doing pretty well. He sells out arenas over there at stadiums in Australia. So I don't think he needs Turkey, who pretty much is saying that Crawford fight is off the table as well for not only for Canelo, but for Tim Tszyu.
Yeah, I agree that Canelo and Tim Tszyu probably have those similar traits, and that they're very prideful fighters, very prideful men. They're not the type of guys, like you said, that just because a guy comes with a huge bag that they're just gonna sell out. I think they hold themselves to a different kind of standard, Gio. I think a guy like Tim Tszyu, he's like, I'm gonna make my money regardless, and even if I don't make as much, I'm gonna do it my way, and you gotta respect that. So I agree again with Big Brother's statement. There's some people, like some very rich people, if they don't get their way, you know, they don't take it. They're not used to getting no's. So as much as I feel like Turkey has done a whole heck of a lot for the sport, and I think he is trying to make these fights for the fans, because again, I think he's a true fan of the sport. I think he's got to go about it a different way. Money, even though it helps a lot, and it is a way to a means to happiness. It's not happiness, but it's a way to a means. He's got to find another way to reach these guys, and it's sometimes it's taking a step back and not being the king of England.
Yeah, I think Eddie Hearn has some things to say. He said he likes both guys. I didn't read this full article, but you know, there's some people caught in the middle. We'll see. I think after September 14th, I don't see them completely beefing forever. You know, I think after that September fight, I think maybe they'll be more open to speaking again. As of now, they're throwing jabs at each other, and we'll see what happens with that. But I think this is a good time to transition. Let's go straight into it, Chris. Let's go straight into that fight with Vergil Ortiz Jr. against Serhii Bohachuk, because obviously Victor Ortiz. Sorry, let me not disrespect Vergil like that. Vergil Ortiz Jr.'s name was brought up with Crawford's obviously after the fight. I don't know if you saw that clip of Oscar and Turkey being interviewed, and Oscar said, "We want the fight." Turkey said, "Let's make it happen." So, as of now, it seems like that's the fight they're trying to make happen. You know, Oscar is trying to get his boys paid as well. But let's stay on Ortiz, Bohachuk. I'll pull up the poll. We know it was a bit controversial. Ortiz going down twice. I believe it was the second and the eighth. The first and the eighth, I'm sorry. We'll double check that right now. But give me your thoughts on this fight. We knew it was going to be fireworks. We knew both men had power. We knew somebody was going to get hurt. We both predicted a knockout in favor of Ortiz. He didn't get it. You know, big ups to Bohachuk. He was hurt several times in this fight, but he stayed on his feet. Give me your thoughts on this fight. This war.
This war. Now, first of all, I was surprised that, you know, Vergil Ortiz lost his knockout. You know, ratio, he's had 100% knockouts intact. Of course, I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but props to Bohachuk for being the first man to go the distance and to make it extremely competitive. There's a lot of people that had him winning. You mentioned the 2 knockdowns, Gio. Once you get those 2 knockdowns, all you really need is to win 2 rounds to get a draw, theoretically. So I feel like he fought a great fight. Those knockdowns hurt, like, you know, truly helped him. Vergil obviously was winning a majority of those rounds, and obviously he brought the fight to him. We know that Vergil is never in a boring fight. He's even said it like, I dislike boring fights. I'm not a fan of them. I don't want that to be, you know, for me to be tied to anything that's called boring. Like, I want to bring excitement to the sport. So having said that, Gio, hell of a fight of the year in my opinion. Toughest fight of Vergil Ortiz's career, and this one's the one that kind of made me feel like he's a little human. He's got some chinks in the armor. Bohachuk fought an excellent fight. If you had to ask me who I think won,
yes,
I would say it's tough because you go down 2 rounds. It's if I take, you know, the heart out of it, I would say it could have been a draw, or it could have slightly gone each way. But man, it's tough. It's tough. I would have to say a draw, Gio. Again, I cannot give the victory full out to a guy that got knocked down twice. But again, it could have gone either way, each side 1 round apiece. But yeah, definitely Bohachuk should have given more love on the scorecards.
All right. I'll go to the comments right now. And Boxing Kangaroo, hold that thought. He's giving us some breaking news here. But look, I didn't get to watch the fight live. So, you know, obviously we saw the messages, the posts on the internet, you know, of first of all, of Ortiz going down. He went down right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then people were saying, oh man, Bohachuk was robbed. No way, Ortiz should have won. Once I watched the fight, I was kind of scratching my head, man, because I saw Bohachuk hurt in this fight maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure I saw Ortiz hurt at all in this fight. You know, even with the knockdowns, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it seemed like to me Ortiz was hurting Bohachuk constantly. Obviously, the 2 knockdowns are huge. But I got to say, I didn't see Vergil Ortiz losing this fight, Chris. I think a lot of people focus on the things that Ortiz didn't do. But I feel like if they focus on the things that Bohachuk didn't do, I think they will see a different fight. Now, obviously, Bohachuk was the underdog in the eyes of most. And anytime the underdog overachieves, people want to score rounds for the underdog. That's not how boxing works. I just thought Bohachuk was, I mean, we know he's not the best defensive fighter out there. He's been knocked out before. In this fight, he refused to move his head. Vergil Ortiz did great body work. Vergil Ortiz landed the best punches in the fight, even with the knockdowns against him. I just didn't see him lose the fight. Maybe I got to watch it again, but I don't know. I don't see how he lost it. A draw may be fair, but
Yeah.
Big Bro saw him winning most of the rounds. He says Vergil clearly won 8 rounds, 10 if you include the ones where he was knocked down. Yeah, that round 8, he came back and almost knocked Bohachuk out in the same round. So he didn't even lose that round. So I'm not sure where all the outrage is coming from. Maybe it was the knockdowns. Maybe it was they were expecting a knockout. Maybe people didn't know Bohachuk.
Yeah.
But as I said, I stand by it. I did not see Vergil Ortiz losing this fight.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it, Gio. When the underdog overachieves, when the favorite, in a sense, underachieves, people are gonna have like those kinds of sentiments. I went straight to Twitter and to see just what the sentiments were for most fans. And again, there's a lot of people just like us that expected Vergil to knock out his opponent. But again, the name of the game is just win more rounds and try to outpoint your opponent. That's really how you get the W. So again, there was a lot of people on social media, on Twitter, that just felt like, oh, Bohachuk fought a good fight, or oh, Vergil Ortiz didn't win that fight. I feel like he slightly could have gotten the nod. Again, when you look back at those numbers, he did outland Bohachuk, and you can see the aggression in him. Bohachuk just had some good moments where where those knockdowns are eye catching, and most of those rounds the judge will score 10-8, even if Vergil comes back, which we've seen Vergil do what Tyson Fury does, and he just tries to win that round where they get knocked down. So again, I can see the fight, favoring Ortiz based on activity. But again, I just think Bohachuk should have got more love from the judges. But again, it's a competitive fight of the year. I feel like they should run it back. This is one of those fights where, I'm not used to seeing Vergil try to, stay on the outside and land the jab early on. That's where, he respects the power of his opponent. And normally Vergil just rolls right through everybody and knocks them out. So again, it's props to Bohachuk. He fought a great fight, bigger guy. I think Vergil's starting to see that, 154 is his division now, but he cannot just roll over guys the way he used to.
I'm going to disagree with that statement, Chris. Bohachuk was 24-1, 23 knockouts. Obviously a very tough opponent. He had only lost to Brandon Adams. And why I'm giving Vergil Ortiz a ton of credit for this fight. When I watched it, I couldn't believe people were so upset and outraged at this. Vergil Ortiz basically fought 2 rounds in 2024, right? He got a 1-round stoppage, first round stoppage against Frederick Lawson, and a first round stoppage versus Thomas Delorme. He did not fight in 2023. And then he fought in August of 2022. So in 2 years, he fought 2 rounds. He hasn't been active. He's had some health issues. So watching him go 12 with Bohachuk to me was impressive. With the way that both of them fought, the pace, both guys throwing heavy power punches. With Ortiz going down a couple times, you saw his face at the end. He was clearly bruised. Bohachuk is a strong guy. So to me, I don't share that same sentiment. To me, I think Vergil Ortiz graduated in this fight. He had that perfect KO streak before this fight, but he hadn't fought the toughest opponents. I think Bohachuk is as tough as they come, and to me, this was Vergil Ortiz's graduation. He proved he can take a big punch. He proved he can go 12 with a tough, strong opponent. He proved that he can box and go toe-to-toe. Coach Manny Robles coached for Bohachuk, who also coached Vergil Ortiz for, was it a couple fights, I think? 1 or 2 fights. He said he was kind of thrown off by the fact that Ortiz was boxing. So that, I'm sure, caused a little bit of frustration and confusion. They wanted him to fight. He didn't always give him that toe-to-toe action and was scoring in a lot of those rounds. And as I said, I don't think he lost. We'll go into that pool, but I disagree with your statement. I think this was a very good performance by Vergil Ortiz, considering everything, the inactivity, the health issues, the opponent. I thought this was a very good fight by Ortiz.
Gio, would you rather see a rematch of this fight again? I think most fans wouldn't say no to a rematch. Again, it was action filled. It was fight of the year type of fight. Would you rather see a rematch, or would you rather see him square up against Terrence Crawford next?
I would rather him fight a guy like Crawford. Uh, I think anytime you fight guys like Bohachuk, man, those fights take a lot out of you. As I said, you saw his face at the end. I'm sure he was exhausted. I'm not sure he wants to do that again. Bohachuk, he comes forward all 12. He doesn't let you breathe. So for Vergil, win or lose, I think it's a better fight against Crawford. He's gonna get more money. He's not gonna take as much punishment, and why not do it now? I can't say I'm against marinating fights. I like it, because the guys get paid more money eventually. But I think if Turkey's out there throwing big bags, you take it. You don't risk it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even though it was a great fight, um, I feel like right now is the time to make that Crawford fight. Obviously, we know that Crawford's up there in age. Um, those rumors of him fighting Canelo are put to bed. I said in the previous podcast, if Crawford can't, convincingly beat a guy like Madrimov, he has no business going up 3 divisions to try to face Canelo. So I think it makes sense for him to fight a guy like Vergil Ortiz. I think Vergil, like you said, has gotten the experience from this fight, even though it wasn't the prettiest of fights or the most dominant the way we're used to seeing Vergil. I think he's amassed enough experience to challenge a guy like Terrence Crawford. I feel like that fight is more 50-50 now than, say, 2 years ago. So, yeah, man, again, that's the fight that needs to be made. And if it does, take my money now.
Yeah, and I think Vergil will do fine if he can take Bohachuk's punches. I'm pretty sure he can take Crawford. So, I think he'll be fine if he takes that fight, and he's gonna get paid, man. So, do you really lose, even if you lose? You know. But
Right?
going back to the scorecards here, 113, 113, Max DeLuca, 114, 112, David Sutherland, and Steve Weisfeld, 114, 112. So two judges, 114, 112 in favor of Vergil Ortiz, and one judge had it a draw. Now let's go to some. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, okay, those I didn't really look at the scorecards, Gio. Those are pretty fair. I felt that it was probably more slanted towards Vergil. I didn't stay to see the actual scorecards. Those are pretty fair, man. Those are pretty close. Um, yeah, again, I can see that fight being scored that way for either guy. So yeah, I know on social media, I felt like it was more slanted towards
Yeah.
you know, towards Vergil, but I think those are pretty good scorecards.
Yeah, when people say robbery, obviously we've seen crazy scorecards in the past. Adelaide Bird, on that Canelo Triple G1, Alejandro Rochin, and the Fury Wilder one. Those scorecards are outrageous. I didn't see anything crazy in this one. So as I said, considering everything, once I watched the fight, I didn't really understand why there was so much outrage, um, on the internet and the comments. But maybe people thought Bohachuk deserved more. I I I think the scorecards were very close. It was a close fight. I can't say it was a robbery, but let's go to some quick comments here real quick before we continue. Big Bro says Vergil outlanded him, was more accurate, and had better defense. The first knockdown was a legit. The second wasn't. He got hit, then threw a punch and slipped. So give me your thoughts on the knockdowns, Chris. When I saw them, you know, again, reading the comments, I thought Vergil got put on his ass. I thought he put him down and Vergil was hurt, wobbly leg. But I saw them and they're both kind of flash knockdowns. The first one, initially, they didn't call it. It did kind of look like he tripped or something. Vergil right away said no. I think he probably just felt like he lost his balance, just like the second knockdown where where I did see what Big Bro saw. He threw a punch and his right leg kind of slipped, but Bohachuk did land. So I guess technically that is a knockdown. Technically both are probably knockdowns, but he wasn't hurt. It looked like flash knockdowns. And as I said, and the second one, he came back and hurt Bohachuk and almost stopped him. But yeah, I thought these were going to be crazy knockdowns, and Vergil looked terrible. But I didn't see that. I don't know. Tell me what you kind of thought of those two knockdowns.
Well, first, let me start. There's too many ads like on the freaking map, bro. There's too many ads. We've seen, fighters slip, and that there's always some confusion with the refs saying it's a slip when a punch lands and they still go down. So I think there's a combination of a little bit of everything, Gio. So I know the ads pay the bills. They the sponsors, they want their name out there because they pay for these fighters as training, their gear, all that. I get that, but man, dude, that's something I've had an issue for like a little while now. That's too many slippery ads on that
It's
map.
not safe. It's not safe for the fighters.
Just like we thought. I thought it was a slip in the beginning, but I did see the punch when the scores went up. We saw that he was marked for a knockdown because it was a punch did land. So I agree with you. It didn't seem like Vergil was hurt on those both. It was just a punch that landed cleanly on him. He went down, but he got right back up and he tried to win the round. So, in my opinion, two knockdowns, but flash knockdowns.
Vergil did enough to get the victory, in my opinion, says the boxing kangaroo. Even with the knockdowns, he came back strong. Vergil never got hurt. Big Bro says Bohachuk showed he has a great chin and heart. Was hurt after dropping Vergil the second time and again in the 11th. A champion wins the championship round, says Boxing Kangaroo. Period. Big Bro also says, agree with the two scorecards that had Vergil winning. If anything, the 4th and the 9th were close rounds in which I favored Vergil. Serhii, without the knockdown, would have lost 10-2 or 9-3 at best. The scorecards were more fair to Bohachuk, says Big Bro. Vergil boxed well, behind the jab. Times he got careless with his hands down and got caught clean, like the first knockdown. Yeah, that's one thing I did notice about Vergil. He fought a lot of that second half of the fight with his hands down. He was working the jab very well. Kind of like doing that Sergio Martinez with his hands down, but popping out that jab. But yeah, against a power puncher, that's dangerous. And I think it was just the rhythm, the lack of fitness, you can say. You can be in the gym, but it's not the same as having a guy like Bohachuk on you 24/7 during the fight. So I think it was a little bit of fatigue, maybe physically not being, 100%, as I say, with the inactivity, with the health issues. I've never seen Ortiz really fight like that. Didn't necessarily like it, but I still think he did enough with the jabs, with the body work, hurting Bohachuk throughout the fight. So I agree with the guys that he won the fight. Worst case scenario to me, he didn't lose. 7-5, says Boxing Kangaroo. At times, Vergil smothered himself and seemed to tire out a bit in the middle round, says Big Bro, but finished strong and got a deserving win. One of those rounds where he got dropped should have been 10-9. Yeah, so mixed emotions and reactions and feedback. Let's go to the poll, Chris. Usually, we have very knowledgeable boxing fans. 1.3K voters. 20% would say it was a draw. 23% for Bohachuk. 57% for Ortiz, which I was surprised by, Chris. 57% of the people. Plus, if you want to add 20%, 77% didn't think he lost. 23% only thought Bohachuk won.
Yeah, no, first of all, we do have like pretty knowledgeable fans for the most part. 57% is a good number. Again, he is a fan favorite, Gio. He's going to get a lot of those votes. But and a lot of people gave Bohachuk love too. You saw there was a good number for draw, a good percentage for, that thought that he did enough to win. So I'm not going to disagree with those numbers. Again, it was a very competitive fight. Those knockdowns helped Bohachuk. I do agree that Vergil was the more active, he had more volume and throughout the fight. So, a good win again. Those judges were pretty close, so you can't be upset at that. when you hear the word robbery, you're thinking 118, 110, 117, 111, 116, 112. So I think they did a good job. And shout out to Big Bro. I think he should be a judge. He should go sign up for his judge's license. I'm sure he's gonna get some of those corrupt people, and they're trying to have him have an offshore account. But I believe in Big Bro. He would have a he would call it how it is.
Adi checking in. He says, I had it 113, 113, but because Harvey Doc was in the mix, I had to change it to 114, 112 Ortiz. Now let's go to some comments here because look, like I said, you get mixed reactions and feedback. One of the comments here, close fight, but Vergil pulled it out. Good decision. Draw, says another boxing fan. Probably draw probably. I don't think either guy did enough to win. Close rounds, rough fight. Bohachuk scored 2 knockdowns, but Vergil won the majority of the regular rounds. Bohachuk won that daylight robbery, says this anonymous guy here. Boha or draw. 114, 112. Nah. That means he won 8 out of 12 rounds. Bohachuk did not lose 8 rounds, says another boxing fan here. 2 knockdowns. That means Ortiz had to win 9 rounds in order to win. Draw, says Clyde. Draw or Bohachuk. Ortiz easily won those 2 quote-unquote knockdown rounds. The only thing is damn near the only rounds I had him winning, and that's just on technically because they're not knockdowns. So look, you see a lot of mixed emotions here. Maybe we had to watch it again, Chris, but once again, I didn't understand the outrage. I thought it was a great fight. Anytime, boxers or promoters promise a fight of the year candidate, a lot of times we are a bit disappointed because the fighters don't live up to the hype. In this case, the complete opposite. Both men went in there to do what they said they were going to do. They gave us a show, so I can't complain. Ortiz gets his hand raised, and now Turki's trying to get his boy Crawford paid and make that fight happen next.
Yeah, no, again, shout out to both these guys, both Vergil and Bohachuk. Gio, again, between these two guys, they have over 95% knockout ratio when you put them together. So you almost want to think like this fight should have ended in a knockout. So again, you got to commend their heart, their chins, their grit. Because even though, like you said, Bohachuk was hurt, Vergil was knocked down, they did not want to go out like that, and they saw the distance. Like you mentioned, we've never seen Vergil's face that beat up. Again, he doesn't have the most sound defense because he's there to fight. If he wanted to box the whole time, we would have gone something like Shakur Stevenson-esque, and but he wants to give fight fans good fights, and that sometimes it means taking shots, and he did it there with a great power puncher like Bohachuk. So again, commend these two. I would love to see it down the line. Again, a part 2, you don't have to sell me, man. It tells itself. So I would love to see Vergil against Crawford next. I think it's the best time to make that fight. Crawford, before people say that he passed his peak. And Vergil, I want him to get the full credit if he's able to take that from him. So, man, can't wait to see that fight next. The money's there, and let's make it happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Crawford, 36 years old. He didn't look impressive against Mandramov. I think the time is now. If you're Vergil, if you want to get that credit, if you don't want people to say exactly what you said, Chris, just now, that people are going to say, no, he was too old, or they're in the same weight class right now. Crawford already tested the waters. It's not like he's moving up in weight. Vergil was, I think this is his 3rd fight at 154. Crawford already had 1, so I think it'd be a good even fight. It depends, what Crawford we get, what Vergil we get, but I think the time is now. I think that it's a good fight, and as long as Turkey's there, there's going to be big bags. So I would take advantage now, Chris. I would take advantage now. But let's go ahead and move on, Chris. I don't know if you have any. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move on, I want to ask you: Do you give credit in your heart to Vergil Ortiz becoming a champion based off this, or is it more like Let me wait till he does like the full belt. In your opinion, is he a champion? Has he achieved his dream of becoming a champion, or is it like I give him half credit?
Hey, look, give me 1 second. All right, because I just grabbed my WBC belt, Chris. I just grabbed my WBC belt. You know, you can buy these. Sometimes they email them to you. You know, sometimes you get those junior belts. But my point is, this is not the real one. Vergil Ortiz doesn't have the real one. I think that's a championship fight. But if I'm not mistaken, who has the WBC? Is it Fundora?
I believe so. Yeah.
I believe it's Fundora. And I believe Charlo never actually lost it. So, no, it's not the real belt. It was a great fight. It should have been a championship fight for a real belt. But let's call it what it is. It's not a real championship. You boxing fans need to stop giving these junior belts value. All right. If we don't give it value, if we stop talking about them, then maybe these guys will get rid of it. WBC has 1,000 belts. You know, look, I even have one. All right. A lot of people think the 4 belts is a lot per division, you know, and want there to be just one champion. You know, I'm kind of okay with the 4 belts. You know, more guys get paid, or you get a lot of big fights. I'm not mad at that. But once you go over 4, I'm not with it. It's not a real belt, but still much respect to Vergil Ortiz for winning it.
Yeah, I completely agree 100%. This one should have been a championship fight for the actual belt. But alas, it's not. It's for the interim. So even though I do believe Vergil Ortiz is a future champion, a full-fledged future champion, he will become a champion one day. I cannot, in good faith, clamor him as a champion until he beats one of those belt holders, whether it's Crawford, whether it's Fundora, or anybody else that has full claim to a belt. So I do believe he will get that one day, but not yet. Even though the NU sounds really nice, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold on.
Hey, look, I didn't even give Crawford for that Madrimov belt. Madrimov got emailed that title, you know, because Charlo's the champion of recess, so I didn't even give him credit for that.
Hey, you took it to a whole other step, but I get you. I get you.
Can't be out here beating email champions and claiming to be a full champ. Come on, man. Talking about email championships, Crawford vacated his 147-pound. Which one was it? Somebody wrote it on here. Oh, they didn't say which one it was. It was like WBO or something, and then they named another fighter. I forgot his name. I don't even know who the guy was, but he got named the full champion for 147 now. Left hook, he says, I think it's funny people are surprised Terrence Crawford vacated the 147-pound belt. I found it fairly obvious that Crawford was done with that division. Yeah, I think he made it very obvious. Let's see if Boots goes up to 154 to chase him down. Kind of like what Morel's doing with Benavidez. But yeah, I think we're not surprised at that. I think he still has one, or he has vacated. Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, Crawford, it seems like 154, he's staying there. And it seems like he's still looking. Brian Norman Jr., yes, there you go, Adi. Thank you. Seems like Crawford's still looking for that payday. We'll see if Big Turk can get it for him. All right, Big Bro says it's not the full belt. After Vergil Ortiz performances, Adi, I think Imane Khalif KOs Vergil. Oh, man.
Damn.
Imane got gold, man.
She got gold.
She or he got gold. One of them. Vergil versus Bohachuk was the best fight I've seen in years, says Raw Dog. All right. Crawford, who's this? Iceman. Crawford gloves busted again. Something fishy with Crawford. I don't know if you heard about that, Chris. They were saying his gloves busted before the Madrimov fight, and that kind of delayed the fight a little bit. It's not the first time that this has happened.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear about that. What are they saying about it?
When he was doing pads, I think Andre Ward said it from the info that he got. When he was doing pad work, warming up, his gloves just busted. You know, so he was they were saying he was going to wear a pair of gloves that didn't match his outfit because of that, because his original pair just busted wide open, Chris. Not the first time it happens. Not the first time it happens.
Yeah, there's been controversy with other boxers, but yeah, I feel like I can't speak on it. I don't know enough. I would have to, like, ask a trainer and get their take on that.
Lubin over Ramos was a robbery, says Raw Dog. I agree. Not
Yeah,
sure why he made that statement, but yeah. Foster versus Conceição was a real robbery, Adi says. Oh, well, let's not talk about robberies, man. We could go on and on. Boxing Kangaroo says, just for the record, I was a part, I think he's trying to say not a part, a part of the 57%. And I voted for Vergil. All right. But that's all I got, Chris. I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, again, this is a great fight. Again, the boxing fans were treated to great action. Again, we've said it time and time again. We're big fans of Vergil. He's always in action-packed fights. When I think of great fighters that brought us always action fights, I think of like Amir Khan. I think of Chino Maidana. I mean, those are throwback fighters, and those are fights that Vergil gives us each and every time. So again, we just have to enjoy Vergil because we have him in his prime. He's coming into his powers, and again, he's overcome those health setbacks, and I mean, again, can't wait for him to be a full, true champion, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, and look, salute to Robert Garcia, man. Great couple of weeks. That great victory with Rayo Valenzuela.
Yeah.
I think he had Chop. Who's they're saying is a new guy, Chop Gonzalez, I believe is his last name. We'll look it up right now. But he fought on the undercard of Leo and Lopez. Oh man, we got to get into that sadly. But yeah, now Vergil as well. So good few weeks for Robert Garcia. He still has Bam, who's still looking great. So man, I'd say he's up there right now for fighter of the year. Definitely up there, Robert Garcia.
Yeah, I saw a post out there, and yeah, Robert, man, running away with it, man. If this is the 400, he's 200 meters ahead of everybody, easily.
And now, Chris, I don't know why they're bringing Rayo up again, but hey, I gotta read these comments. If it's anything against Pitbull Cruz, I am reading it.
Man, you texted Adi and Raw Dog, everybody. You're like, hey, y'all, leave these comments, man. I'm going on Chris.
Hey, that was one of my favorite episodes, by the way. What was it, last week when I got to criticize Pitbull and Crawford? Hey, I'll admit my biases, just like Boxing Kangaroo. He says, I run the Australian chapter of the Vergil Ortiz fan club. Hey, man, look, as long as you're honest about it, we all have our biases. In this case, I'm biased against Pitbull. So let me go ahead and read these comments. Raw Dog says, Rayo's victory opened casuals' eyes. Adi also says, Rayo's victory made people realize that Pitbull is one-dimensional. We tried to tell Chris, but he didn't listen. He would not listen to us. Would you call him the Vegeta of Dragon Ball Z? Oh, man. Disrespectful.
Hey, Vegeta doesn't always win, man, but he's action packed, man. He's he's one of the goats of DBZ. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Like, Pitbull is an action fighter. I did expect him to win. I'm not gonna lie, and even though I saw the fight, live, and I felt that Pitbull, edged it, I watched it back. Not the prettiest Rayo fight, but yeah, he did. I admit he did enough to win.
I've been told, y'all, Cruz was one trick pony, says Big Bro. Iceman says, did you teach y'all Australian breakdancer for the Olympics? Oh man, y'all are wilding now. Boxing Kangaroo, you gotta explain that one. Well, what happened to that person in the break competition in the Olympics, man? That was wild. She must have been trolling. She must have got paid. I'm sure she's one of the most famous people in the world right now, because that was wild.
Yeah, it was so bad that they're not bringing back breakdancing for 2028.
Yo, boxing kangaroo, please tell us what happened there. You being from Australia, let us know. Maybe that's an Australian thing. Maybe that's how they do it over there. I saw her doing like this worm thing on the ground. Like maybe that's the move. Maybe that's the move over there. I don't know. Oh, Adi, come on, man. Adi's wilding over here. He says I try to stay up for the Venado fight, but I guess he went to sleep before me. Oh man, come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, let's get into it, Gio. Just the same way we back up our boys. Hey, we gotta stand by them when
2 minutes.
when they don't
2
come through.
minutes. I can't.
2 minutes.
I can't do this, man. It hurts my soul right now. But yeah, Angelo Leo did the impossible, Chris. We came out here and said, oh man, the guy has 11 knockouts and what was it, like 22 wins or something like that. He had a loss already. He lost to Fulton easily, I must add. We're like, man, there's no way he's hurting Venado. Venado's gonna go out there and hurt him. The complete opposite, man. He got caught with a left hook, clean. We know Venado's a guy who usually fights with his hands down. He fights using weird angles. He's not your conventional boxer, but it had worked for him, man, in those big fights against Colin, against Warrington, against Gabriel Flores Jr., against Andy Vences, you know, those big fights against Isaac Lowe. You know, in this fight, he got caught, man, and he was getting caught throughout the fight. Man, this is one of the saddest fights I've seen. I always come on the show and I say I'm biased toward Venado. He's a friend of the show. Very cool, humble guy. Man, that was hard to see, man. That was hard to watch.
Yeah, I know the narrative what was out there, Gio, that you know you gotta have fundamentals, and you know that he got exposed, et cetera, et cetera. I didn't expect it because we've seen him fight guys with very, very good fundamentals, and you know, like you mentioned, he's still found a way to win. He's found a way to break them down and knock them out. So again, it's a shocker to me as well, Gio. Even though Leo's got some good boxing that we've seen, we just didn't think he had the pop and the power to do something like this to Venado. But hey, this is why we love boxing, because you know anything can happen. And like you said, he was catching Venado all day, you know, landing almost at will. This kid, even though he does not have a lot of power, fought like he did. You know, took the fight to Venado all night long, fearless. He looked strong. He looked good. He looked, you know, like he belonged there. So again, you got to just congratulate a guy like that, where everybody kind of, you know, disregards you, discounts you. So again, big props to Angelo Leo, and he won in his hometown.
Yeah, man, I can't do this. Let's change topics. Let's change topic. But let's go to some comments before we change topics, man. Big Bro says, man, Venado had to have overlooked him and felt he had no power. Yeah, he kept getting caught and he wasn't putting his hands up much, man. And the punch, it wasn't anything spectacular. He just threw a lead left hook, you know, while Venado was jabbing. I mean, man, his right hand down while he was jabbing. Leo threw that left hook, caught him clean, and I don't know why the referee was counting, man. But that was brutal. I hate to say it, and I'm gonna confess right now, I probably won't be able to vote for it for knockout of the year just because it hurts. But this at the end of the year, this is gonna be up there as one of the top candidates for KO of the year. I'm saying it right now. I'm gonna be so biased that I don't think I could vote for it. But man,
I mean, that's, at least, like you said, at least you're honest about it. And again, Gio, you know, there's gonna be two of our boys that are gonna be in the knockout of the year candidates. We gotta keep it real. We gotta say how it is. So again, this one and our boy Ashton Silva, they're probably gonna be up there. You know, still plenty of time left. I'm sure we'll find some hellacious knockouts down the line. But yeah, man, this one, like you said, this one hurts. Again, we ride with our boys, and hey, we take those same L's with us. So yeah, man. Again, we'll see how they bounce back. Again, we've said it time and time again. These knockouts, they take a lot out of you. You know, so hopefully Venado comes back strong. This is where management kicks in and they pick, you know, some good fights to get that confidence back in. But yeah, again, I advise them not to take those fights where, you know, you're facing a dangerous guy right off the back. Again, this is boxing. You don't play it. Let's make some wise decisions.
Yeah, and I feel like a guy like Venado, he's just a pure fighter, Chris. He'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. And sometimes that's not the best decision, man. People criticize Canelo all the time, but do you think Canelo would have agreed to fight this guy in his hometown? Do you think Inoue would have agreed to that? Do you think Anthony Joshua would have agreed to that? Like, no. I'm sure their teams wouldn't allow them to do that either. Venado said it in his hometown, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Who cares? Let's go. Let's go fight him. And yeah, man, at the end of the day, it wasn't the best decision. Big Bro saying that he mentioned Venado that he was struggling a little bit to make that weight. Yeah, to me, he didn't look as strong. He didn't look as mobile on defense, especially as well. He kept getting caught. Didn't look like his usual self. And man, that was just a brutal punch. But Adi adds, bro, watching Oscar Valdez empathize with Venado in the locker room post fight was so heartbreaking. Seeing Venado cry was very emotional, but then I remembered that he had no defense. Y eso le pasa por you know what. Venado might need to move up, says Big Bro. H2O had the motions from inside out on his trunks trying to reboot him. I don't even know what that means. Venado was branded as a road warrior. Yep, that's right. But yeah, that's why you're the champion now. You're the A side. I'm not going to anybody's hometown. You got to fight where I say now, man. And he was poised to get big fights too. I think Rafael Espinosa's on that weight division. I think what's the other Mexican champion as well? Tall, lanky. He came from the lower divisions. Fuck, you guys name him in the comments, please.
The one that fought
he fights with Nacho Beristain. Vargas? Rey Vargas? Yeah, he's in that weight division too, right? Finito fought a hell of a fight, says Boxing Kangaroo. But yeah, man, let's move on. This one hurts. This one hurts. Hey, Chris, it's gonna suck to do that KO of the year segment at the end of the year, man. Y'all tune in. Hey, we might have technical difficulties during that segment. I'm just giving you guys I'm just giving you guys a heads up, man.
I'd be like, oh, when we got knocked out the air. Oh, let's jump back to trainer of the year.
Yeah, I'm just giving y'all a heads up. The stream might crash during that. It's just gonna skip, as you said. We'll practice it, Chris, to make it look real. We'll practice.
It's gonna cut to technical difficulty. It's gonna be like Manny Pacquiao slept on the floor. Like, we'll be back or something.
Oh man, another one that hurt me.
No, but again, Gio, I agree with Adi. Again, I'm sure Venado saw, this fight, and he said, I'm gonna find this guy's yard. I've had tougher assignments before. I've gone, halfway across the world to fight guys in their backyards with even bigger fan bases. I'm sure, he may not say he overlooked them, but maybe he did a little bit. But hopefully he comes back stronger. We know that he's had setbacks outside of the square circle before, and I'm sure with the right management moves, he could get back into title contention.
Yeah, man. We'll see. They better line him up with some good fights after this brutal KO, and hopefully give him 2-3 fights maybe, and then get those big money fights, man. But big shout out to Angelo Leo. Big shout out to El Venado Lopez. It happens, man. It's boxing. I do want to shout out the guys on the undercard, though, Chris, because Lindolfo Delgado, another RGBA fighter, proves to 21-0. He won by split against Brian Flores, who was also undefeated. 95-93. Scored the judges 92-96 and then 96-92 in favor of Lindolfo. Our boy Alan Kick Kansas Garcia was also on that undercard. He improved to 14-0. Got a stoppage, got a KO. He looked great. Looking stronger than ever, man.
Yeah, again, he's getting closer to that 20-0, 6 fights away. That's where those, he's going to start fighting, top 20 guys. And that's where those assignments are going to get even tougher. So again, doing what he needs to do to stay winning, doing what he needs to do to keep the Bob father happy. Again, he's with the world-renowned promotion company. And yeah, man, can't wait to see him keep sending those ranks again. Just like Raymond Morataya, man, those days are coming, and he's gotta be ready for when those tough assignments come.
All right. Let's go to the comment that Boxing Kangaroo has been typing throughout this broadcast, man. It says Teo versus Camboso 2 is happening, bruh. What do you think, Chris? Hey, man, before you go, man. Hey, sorry, Boxing Kangaroo. Sorry to say this, man. But I think Teo stops him this time. I'm not gonna lie. I think Teo stops him this time. But it's a good fight for both. Get your bag, get paid. If Cambosos can do it in Australia, that would be pretty dope. But we'll see. We'll see how they negotiate. I haven't read anything about it. I'll look it up right now. But I can't say I'm too mad at that fight, even though, Theo's trying to challenge the 147 pounders or 154s, specifically a guy named Crawford. But I wouldn't be too mad at that, honestly.
It's crazy because I've always said that Cambosos is a guy that has capitalized the most off of a win that nobody expected. He is very entertaining, in my opinion. Outside of the square circle, he knows how to talk. He's media trained, in my opinion. He says the right things to get into people's heads. I feel like that was a major reason why he upset Teofimo the first time and knocked him down, which was very shocking. So again, he's come up short with the likes of Devin Haney, but he's been able to draw them to Australia. He's been able to entice them to these big fights. And again, most guys that lose a fight after that, lose two fights like that, completely outclassed. They don't get these shots again. So again, props to him. If that happens, there's a narrative behind it, and it's even the build up alone will be very entertaining, in my opinion.
Yeah, Boxing Kangaroo says it's not out yet, bro, but I know. Oh man, if you know something we don't, man, maybe it's a different time zones. Maybe they know over there, but not here yet. But hey, if that's announced before we stream our next podcast, we gotta credit Boxing Kangaroo for breaking that news to us.
If that happens, they better come up with a breakdancer to walk them out. That would be comedy. That would be insane. But yeah, man. Again, I agree with Big Bro. Nobody's asking for it, but I would be intrigued. Not gonna lie.
Let's rewind here. Steven Navarro is gonna be a problem, says Adi. Yeah, I've heard a lot about him. They just signed him as well. Boxing Kangaroo says you heard it here first. Big Bro saying Camboso is washed. Never really had it.
Damn.
Adi says Teofimo's next fight is going to be against his top-ranked contract in court. We'll see, man. We'll see. As I said, I'm not mad at it. I'd rather that than freaking Steve Claggett, bruh. Man, I can't believe, Chris, I said that was the last time I was saying that name on the podcast. I lied. I just said it again, but Steve Claggett, really? I'd rather him fight Cambosos again. Get that rematch, trying to get that loss back. He can at least say if he gets it that he avenged his loss. So I am not too mad at it.
Obviously, the fight that we want to happen for Teofimo is against our boy Arnold Barbosa Jr. But it doesn't seem like Teofimo, who's a nice guy. We've talked to him before. Nice guy. I just don't think he wants any part of Arnold. He may say that here and there, but it's a big risk, little reward for Teofimo. But I mean, that would be an excellent fight that I can't say for sure I would favor either guy. It's in my opinion, it's very competitive.
Okay. Hey, let's go. Come on, Boxing Kangaroo. He says, I'm trying out for the Australian 2028 breakdance team.
I think you got a shot.
Hey, man, look. If they somehow bring it back in the next Olympics, breakdancing, it's going to be here in LA. We will go watch you. We will roll deep. We will interview you after. As long as you got moves like that last person, that would be insane, all right? But Yeah. What? Give me your thoughts, boxing kangaroo, when you saw that as an Australian watching that on the biggest stage. Man, that was insane. That was insane. But like I said, we'll go out there and watch you, man. We'll cheer for you and everything. All right. So, hey, before we get out of here, I do want to talk about some fights that are coming up. And you guys leave your last comments or questions, and then we'll get into those in the last 5-10 minutes or so. But I do want to talk about this fight right here because Sergey Derevchenko is back in action, Chris. I'm sure he's not the favorite. He is 38 years old, 15-5, 10 KOs. He beat Vaughn Alexander in his last fight at 168. He's now fighting Christian and Billy, who's undefeated. And if you take a look right there at Derevchenko's resume lately, he's been taking some L's, man. Jaime Munguia, Carlos Adames, lost 3 in a row there. Gennady, Jermel, and Carlos Adames. But he's still, man, he's still a tough fighter, man. He's still a tough fighter. He's fighting Christian and Billy from Cameroon, rep in France as well. 27-0, 23 KOs. You know, there's a lot of hype around him. He's fighting Derevchenko in Canada. That fight is going down on Saturday, August 17th. And yeah, I'm going to pay attention to this one, man. I think Billy is a very interesting fighter. They're building him up. And I think that Derevchenko should put up a good fight, man. He's a guy who never gives up, and he's a tough veteran. Very good boxer still, Derevchenko.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Derevchenko is a very, very you know, he's a vet that had just fought some of the big names in the 15 fights he's had. He's fought, all the names in that division. A lot older, in his late 30s. He's been coming up short, especially the last couple of years. I think this is a dangerous fight for him, Gio. I think Christian and Billy, just a fresh, younger guy, 29 years of age, unblemished record. Like I mentioned earlier, he hasn't been in wars, so he's very fresh. I think this could be a very dangerous fight for Derevchenko. Even though Derevchenko normally makes the distance, I feel like this might be the first fight where his age catches up to him, and I think he gets stopped. Well, I want to lock it in right now, but it just feels like that way, where a fresher guy like Mbili seems like this might be the sacrificial lamb. And again, props are for Sergio, who's fought everybody in and around his division, from the Triple Gs of the world to the Munguias. He's a great sportsman of the sport, but I think at late 30s, I think it's gonna catch up.
Yeah, and Adi agrees with you. He says, and Billy will send him into retirement. That is coming. It's coming soon for Derevchenko. 38 years old. Adi also says, I'm more excited to see Oslis Iglesias and Abdullah Mason. Yeah, Abdullah's also on the undercard. Abdullah, man, we're keeping close tabs on him. He's good. He was a prospect of the year last year. Iceman talking about the breakdancer, I suppose. It was terrible, bro. I'm like, what TF are you doing? Yeah, that must have been a crazy reaction. Being Australian, just watching that. Man, that's wild. Bro, I was watching the regular breaking competitions, 2 other girls, and I was laughing just at that. I was laughing. I don't know, it's kind of funny to me, but watching that Australian, man, she took it to the next level. Took it to the next level, man.
She got like zeros. Like even the judges, you're that bad. We're not gonna give you like not even anything. So again,
Hey man, come on, man. She was doing her thing. Like I feel like she should be more popular than the Haktua girl. Like this girl at least was doing something that most of us can't do, you know. She was doing little flips and stuff here and there, you know.
I mean, she was repping Australia. She was doing little kangaroo moves. I mean, yeah, that's but yeah, that's it was entertaining, man. I'll leave it at that.
Chris trying to be nice. All right, well, I think that is all I got, Chris. Anything else you want to add before I get out of here, or you guys have any last questions here, you guys want to get off. But I think that's all I have, man.
Yeah, for me, Joe, even though we opened the show with the face of boxing and the money of boxing, Turkey, Alalshikh, this is boxing, man, and money talks. And I think eventually those two guys will work together. I think there's just too much money involved. I think in boxing, there's always the disrespect thrown here and there, but I think eventually they become friends, dude. I think eventually they find a way to coexist and they find a way to work together. And I can see it happening down the line. Maybe not this year or next year, but I think before their time is up, I think there's just too much money in Saudi Arabia in riot season for the face of boxing not to dip his toes in it. So yeah, man, I see them becoming friends down the line.
My bad. I'm laughing because Ari says they should have a Hawk Tua competition in the Olympics.
Damn.
Oh man. Oh man. I'm not reading that comment, Adi. Hey, but look, one thing I didn't like about Leo's post-fight interview, besides that fact that he knocked out our boy, I didn't like that he called Inoue out, man. Because it's like, man, all these guys are now calling out Inoue. It's like, man, enjoy your title for 10 days, 10 months, whatever it is, man. People are already calling out Inoue. Inoue's not even in that weight class, but if he goes up there, I think, as I mentioned, a few episodes ago, if you're at 140, you target Pitbull Cruz. If you're at 126, you got to target Angelo Leo, man, for that title. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Everybody wants that Inoue payday. I'm sure they wouldn't mind going to Japan for that payday, man. You guys are wilding now, man. You guys are wilding. Shout out to Boxing Kangaroo for staying up, or I don't know what time it is, waking up early. I don't know what time it is over there, but shout out to you. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Big Bro. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back soon. Shout out to all you who watched the replay too and missed the great live stream. But it's all good, man. Look, I'm going to put my WBC belt on. Just like Vergil, he did a lot more to earn it than me. I just paid $20 over there in Old Town San Diego at one of those swap meet tents, But shout out to Vergil, man. Shout out to Vergil. He deserved that spot where he is now. I still think he didn't lose. I'm pretty confident saying I think he won. I'll watch it again, but I don't understand all the outrage, man. Bohachuk did a great job, but I don't think he did enough, man.
Yeah, we'll watch the fight again, Gio, and then we'll bring our official scorecards, man. Because sometimes when I'm watching fights, I don't want to judge. I usually just like to enjoy it. I'll get like an overall feel of what the fight is. But since the fight has passed, I'll sit down, I'll watch it, I'll score round by round, and we'll bring our official cards next week. But yeah, man, hey, I wouldn't be against Leo fighting the monster. If he can do it before December, maybe he makes us forget about this knockout. But hey, get that money, boy.
Monster's coming up September 3rd in Japan against TJ Doheny, another veteran. Right. Stay busy fight, so he can still fight at the end of the year, I think. Last comment here, Leo lost to Fulton already, says Big Bro. He's getting slept by Inoue. Hey, Boxing Kangaroo, I'm not reading that comment, bro. I don't want to get snapped at by Big Turk. Not yet. Maybe he will want to sponsor the show at some point, so I'll keep my comments to myself. But yeah, man, thank you guys once again. We'll be y'all wilding now. Let's get out of here before we get in trouble, man. Hey, thank you guys, mates.
Oh,
shout out to Bohachuk, man. Keep your head up. You'll be back. Let's go, you blood. Hold your ground, Canelo. Stand your ground.
I want that VMC.
Hey,
money.
Tell them you own gas stations too, man.
XOs.
Let's go, mates.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Pastor Gallo atrás. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Que se muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.